All right, over your set.
Okay, so I spent some time thinking about my topic. Most of my topics I wanted to choose from, someone had already done for one of the other speeches. So eventually I decided to do something that I figured would be pretty easy because it's something that interests me and I know quite a bit about. So it's a game I played called Petz. And there's a whole online community centered around the game. And the original game came out in 1995, and the design for the animals in the game were made out of balls and lines from that the PF Magic, the company that made the game, got from another game they made called Balls, which is a fighting game for the Sega Genesis, which I've never played it, never even heard of it until I did this research, and following the original Petz game, they came out with Petz 2, Petz 3, Petz 4, which is where this screenshot's from, and which is the game I'll mainly be talking about, and Petz 5. Starting in 2006, they started coming out with starting with Petz 5, a new company took over called Ubisoft. And starting in 2006, they started coming out with other games, but they weren't the same. They did not have the same design, and on the Petz 5 and below, you could get into the files and change them to make them look how you wanted, which is called hexing, and I'll go more into that later. And for the gameplay, originally you could only bring out 2 pets. You could only bring out those 2 pets and you played with them, but then someone made a nice little program called Petz A, and you could bring out mini pets. You could go also to different scenes and places, and there were toys and stuff to play with that you could take and you could put in your little carry case, which is that little thing there, and take them to different places, and you could dress your pets up and everything. The pets, as the time goes on, they grow. They start as a newborn, but if you breed them. You have to breed them to get them to do that. From the adoption center, they start out at that stage, which is called puppy. They have an infant, which they can walk around, but they're stuck with their mother the whole time. The puppy can come out on their own. There's young adult, middle adult, and full adult, which is just different sizes and different things. Starting at young adult, they can have babies though. And then these are just a bunch of toys. Some of them are made by other people, hexed, and some of them are from the original game, like the unicorns from the game, that ball's from the game, that is, the skateboard's a hex toy, and is the only one I see that's hexed? And the duck's a hex toy. And they had food, and they get hungry, and you have to feed them. And if you don't feed them and play with them, they get sad and they run away. But thanks to Petz A, you don't have to worry about that because control how sad they are. And then there's clothes, and some of the clothes can be hexed too. And then there's original, and you can just dress them up, and they look different depending on what breed you have. The original, in Petz 4, they had, PF Magic had 10 cats breeds, 10 dog breeds. The cats breeds were Alley Cat, Calico, Maine Coon, B&W Shorthair, Chinchilla Persian, Orange Shorthair, Russian Blue, Tabby, Persian, and Siamese. And they were the original PF Magic breeds, and they are referred to as the PF Magic breeds, as are these 10 dog breeds: the Bulldog, Dachshund, Great Dane, Chihuahua, Dalmatian, Labrador, Poodle, Sheepdog, Mutt, and Scotty. But then, starting in Petz 5, you had Ubisoft breeds, which there were 10 breeds in total, cats and dogs both. The Desert Lynx, Egyptian Mound, Honey Bear, Japanese Bobtail, Scottish Fold, Golden Retriever, German Shepherd, Jack Russell, Pomeranian, Papillonian, sorry, my bad, and Pug. These breeds were only in Petz 5, and if you bred them, you could give them to other people, but only other people who had Petz 5 could use them, because Petz 5 doesn't like to correspond with the other games. Petz 4 corresponds with Petz 3 through 5. So most people like Petz 4 because it's so compatible with the other games. But someone went through and decided to convert these breeds through hexing into Petz 4, so now you can have all these in Petz 4 too. And then we get into extra breed files. These are breed files that other people have gone through, and they've gone into programs and they've changed the way the pets look so that they look differently. And you've got some that are more realistic than others. You've got ones that are called wilds, which are wild animals. And then you also have overriding breed files. These 3 all override each other, but you can also get them to where that they're not just an extra breed file, they can overwrite the Dalmatian file, I believe, as can this breed here. And these two breeds are also overriding. That one overrides the sheepdog, and that one overrides the Dalmatian. The rest of these are all just extra breed files. You put them in your game, don't class with anything, and you play with them individually. And then you get into breeding. And through breeding, you have unlimited possibilities. Just with purebreds, the mutations, you can get, that's the calico from the adoption center. And through breeding, you can get them to look like that. Calicos, I believe, have the widest variety because there's so many patches and colors and everything. But the colors only work on a 216-bit scale for this game. And then Labradors can, so can Dalmatians, all the breeds can mutate. These are just the ones I had to show you an example. And then you can have mixies, which are, you take multiple different breeds and you mix them and you get mutts. And you can have all sorts. Most people have their own preference on what they like to see in mixies. Most people like black eyelids, for example, black or self-colored eyelids, and hidden patches, chest patch, and face streaks and stuff. And it's just a matter of personal preference. And each mixie will have the personality of one of the basic base breeds, and it'll just depend, and you can usually tell what personality it's going to have by the shape, by the type of head and eyes it has, is what I've been told. And then you can, another thing that you can do with this is hexing. Now, this is when lots of fun comes in. There's different programs you can get, and you go onto the programs, and you go into the actual files, and you mess with numbers, computer programming and stuff, and you get all sorts of different things. There are unlimited possibilities. None of these are breed files. They are all individual pet files. And the difference is a pet file is the animal you bring out and play with. The breed file is the one that makes the pets that you play with. And then all these on this slide came from that file originally. They originally looked just like that, and then they, through hexing, made them look like all these. And through hexing, you can also have a hex base, which is basically someone makes the basic shape, and you can color it however you want, which is where that horse came from. And then everyone, like art, everyone has their own individual style who does hex. You can see even the same animals, they look different depending on who hexed them. And this makes it extremely difficult for someone to take a pet and say, hey, I hexed this when they didn't, which is good, because we don't like having other people take credit for what we've done. No one does. And I mean, I could take the Mona Lisa and say, I paint this all day, but people are going to know that's a blunt lie. And there are different forums and sites and stuff online that are dedicated to different types of hexes and breeds. There's ones dedicated to horses and wild animals, and there's even one dedicated to Pokemon, and all sorts of stuff. And online you can also do showing. That's where these individual sites dedicated to different types of hexes and breeds come in handy, because hexes don't always pose right. They don't always look right. Sometimes the balls move in funky ways and it just looks horrible. But as a general rule, there's only one way you can pose a cat, like those. There's two ways you can pose a dog. It just depends on which way the head is. That's a Dane pose, that's a Dally pose. And you can earn show points and stuff, and the higher ranked your dog or cat gets through the showing, the more, some people are really, that's really important to them, and so they'll be more likely to adopt a pet from you if the parent has high show points and stuff. And there's also, just like the individual hexes and breeds, there's different sites dedicated to showing only. Now, while I talk more about the community, you get to look at all these pretty pictures. Some of them were on other sites and I really liked them, some of them weren't. The community is really close-knit, which is how we find out if someone came and stole a hex from someone else, took it and said, hey, this is mine, I did this all by myself. People would find out real quick, and chances are you'd end up on everyone's blacklist. You wouldn't be able to get a pet from anyone, because we don't like being stolen from. No one does. And there's just a bunch of different sites. There's sites adoptions, there's forms, there's all sorts of sites. Most sites where people are using HTML formatting, which personally I don't know anything about it, so I just use like free webs because that's really easy. You click buttons and it does it for you. But everyone in the community, like I said, is really close-knit. Some people actually came into the community, obviously for the pets, and they gradually grew out of the game, but they stayed with the community because they made some friends in the community, and it's a real good community. And just like any community, there's obviously drama, because you get a bunch of people together, there's going to be drama no matter what. But you can still have everlasting friendships in it. Or reminding. Questions?
So do you Petz?
I try to, let's see here. The monkey. I hex the monkey. I'm not good at it.